Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. My name is George, but I go by the name Fishmonger Stories. Today, I have 3 itty-bitty African riddles and a story to share with you. Are you ready for some riddles? Are you ready for some stories? First, don't forget to subscribe, like, leave a comment, and share the stories from our playlist. Stories for children, African riddles for children, and stories for teenagers. Feel free, leave a comment and share the stories. Are you ready for some African riddles to see if you are smarter than an average African child? Riddle number one. What has holes but can still hold water? What has holes but can still hold water? What has holes but can still hold water? If you say the sponge, yes, the sponge has holes, but sponge can still hold water. Riddle number two. He who makes it does not use it. He who buys it does not use it. He who uses it does not know that he's using it. What is it? Repeat. He who makes it does not use it. He who buys it does not use it. He who uses it does not know that he is using it. He who makes it does not use it. He who buys it does not use it. He who uses it has absolutely no clue that he's using it. What's the answer? You said the coffin. Yes, the coffin. He who makes the coffin does not use it. He who buys the coffin does not use it. He who uses the coffin has absolutely no idea that they are using the coffin. Are you ready for riddle number 3? Riddle number 3. What flies everywhere day and night but does not go anywhere? What flies everywhere, day and night, but does not go anywhere? Flies day and night, but does not go anywhere. What flies day and night, but does not go anywhere? It flies day and night, but does not go anywhere. The flag, you are correct. The flag, it flies day and night, but the flag goes absolutely nowhere. Thank you for partaking Fishmonger riddles to see if you are smarter than an average African child. Are you ready for some stories? Ladies and gentlemen, if I say hadithi hadithi, you say hadithi njo. Hadithi hadithi, hadithi njo. Paukwa, pakawa, sahani ya mchele. If I say in, you say out. In, hopi uyaide, hopi uyaide, hopi uyaide. Lukama, hopi uyaide, hopi uyaide, hopi uyaide. Lukama, open your eyes, look at me. Let me impart some stories. Let me impart some wisdom upon your life. Ladies and gentlemen, once upon a time, there was a very, very rich man. This rich man, he had a son. This rich man, he was an artist. This rich man, he had a big house where he displayed most of his paintings. This rich man, he had a big house which was like a museum with all sorts of portrait displays. This rich man, his son was a terrific son. Oh, his son, he would go out there and make friends with people in the street. One of the people that the son made friends with was a poor beggar man in the street. Oh, the terrific son, he would go out there to the streets and tell this poor beggar man about his father's wealth. He would tell the poor beggar man about his father's artistry, how his father was such a great artist, how his father would paint, and how his father's house was full of portraits, full of paintings. Oh, the poor beggar man, he liked this terrific son of a rich man because he wondered, what does he see in me? We have absolutely nothing in common. But the terrific son, he would still go out there and talk to the poor man in the street. And the two became very good friends. In fact, he encouraged the poor man to take up painting. Yes. One day, the terrific son, he stopped coming out to the street. And word came out that he had died. Oh. When the poor man heard this, all he could do was look for a white piece of paper and some crayon. And he tried to paint, see if he could draw the terrific son, his friend that had just died. He drew a portrait. And he took this portrait to the house of the artist. And when he got to the gate, he told the watchman, please, I know the owner of the house is a famous artist and a famous painter. This is a portrait that I did of his son. His son was a terrific friend of mine. Please give it to him. Maybe he can find a spot in one of his walls and hang this portrait that I did of his terrific son, who was a terrific friend of mine. And he gave it to the watchman. And the watchman said, okay, you can go now. And the watchman, he took the drawing. Oh, one day when the rich man was leaving the gate, he said, sir, some poor beggar left this portrait. He says, this is a portrait of your friend and of your son. And your son was such a good friend of him. And when your son died, he drew this drawing of your son. And the rich man, he took the drawing, put it in his car, and that was the end of it. Ladies and gentlemen, days, weeks, months, years passed. One day, the poor beggar man in the street, he heard that the rich painter had died. And there was going to be an auction. And so this poor beggar man, he saved all the money that he had. And he said, I would like to go to the rich man's house and see if the painting, the drawing that I did of his son still stands in the wall. And so he bought some second-hand clothes and he mingled nicely. When the auction was opened, everybody came from east, west, north, south with their glasses looking at the paintings, looking at the portraits to see what they were going to bid on, what they were going to buy. Can I tell you a story? Are you ready for a story? Everybody came. The house, which was turned into a museum, was full of lovers of portraits, lovers of paintings from everywhere. Oh, the poor beggar, he looked to see if the painting that he had done of the rich man's son was anywhere. And he saw it on the wall. He saw the painting on the wall. And he said, oh, if they auction, I'm going to buy that. Oh, everybody sat down when the gavel came down. And everybody sat down ready for the auction. Ready to see what they were going to buy. Oh, and the gavel came down and said, hey, we, according to the will the rich man said that the painting that has to be auctioned first is the painting of his son. That painting right there, that's sitting by the wall. That was the condition on his will, that painting has to be auctioned first. And people looked at the painting and said, ugh. Nobody bid on that painting. They looked at it and said, ugh. There was nothing good about that painting at all. There was nothing special about that painting. So nobody bid on it. The poor man, he took all the coins he had in his pocket that he had saved, and he bid the few pennies. There was no counter offer. The gavel came down, and so the painting went to the poor man. And the poor beggar, as he walked down to pick the painting, the gavel came down again. There was also another condition in the will. And the condition on the will said this: whoever buys that portrait of the son gets everything else in the auction. Whoever buys the portrait of the son gets everything else in the auction. Whoever buys the portrait of the son gets everything else. That was the second condition on the will. He who gets the son gets the way, the truth, and the life. Gets everything that life has to offer. Thank you for partaking Fishmonger Stories with me. Until next time, Firmilenge, Katonda akusekere. Until I see you again, God bless, obrigado. God bless you.